Hi, Annika.
Hi, Anthony.
Okay.
All right, I've started recording again.
Yeah, just give it 2 minutes. I'll tell you
Sure.
when to start. The guys are just kletsing still. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 people Waar gaan gaan slaap? Ja, dat is een beetje naar. Annika, I'm going to share, so just let me know when it's on.
I will do. Got it, thank you.
Is it there?
All right, can see it perfectly.
Can you see?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
totally clear.
Brilliant, okay.
Thanks.
Okay, folks, for the guys online, we've done a site walkabout, and there's a couple of wet hair here. I see Nico. It's a bit warm, but no, it was a very good site inspection. There were 1 or 2 non-conformances there, a few areas of that they need to have a look at. But in general, the site looks very nice, so we can just run through this as the next portion. The satellite industries, there's absolutely nothing there. They are off the mining area, so that was all there. I think we can move on to the organization then. And let's start at the top. Okay, now just remember that this is the actual site part of the audit. So we need to just run through it here. All right, understanding the organization and its context. Has the operation taken documented steps to determine the internal and external issues? They have done that. We have seen that. Okay, understanding the needs and expectations of interested parties, and I think this is an important part because our audit focuses a lot on stakeholder involvement and interested parties. So have the perceptions, needs, and expectations of interested parties been determined? I think that's being done on an ongoing basis, Leonard, if I'm not mistaken. You guys do have that in your aspect assessment as well as in your structures to be able to address that. So I think that's a job well done there. Are there any agreements made with the communities? EMP, SLP, committee forum meetings, that sort of thing? SLP. And the SLP? Okay, we have said that, you're right, Mika. It's there. Okay, let's move on to 431. Letitia, are you there? 431. Has the operation developed a scope for its EMS products and activities? Yes, it has. I've showed us that already. Site plan, there's a description, and you've attached the description of your site plan to that. You did show us that as well. Does your site plan indicate the floodline limits? Because you've got streams flowing at the 100-year floodline limit. Does it show it? Letitia, do you want to help out there? Just having a look. On the site plan, does it show? It shows your dumps, your site, your plant. It shows all that sort of thing. It did show that. Yeah, it's just the floodline limits. You know, servitudes, we know that. It may or may not.
Just asking what is the about-based management system?
Let's see. I don't, maybe not.
But it's a very assist in that. You just aid people.
Okay. All right, well, let's go. I don't think you've got that. So we'll just, it's one mark off, it's not a problem. Does the operation have a document or manual that defines the purpose, scope, and elements of its operations EMS? Do you have a procedure on your EMS?
Yeah, it's in our sheet manual.
Yes, okay, that's what we're looking for. Okay. Has the operation performed a gap analysis of the operations EMS manual to find out how far the operation has implemented its EMS? I think you've done that. You showed us in your presentation this morning. Again, the relevance of the presentation starts coming through even in this one. Eh? Okay, so that section is well scored at 97. Let's move on to leadership. Okay, is it evident through documented information that top management at the operation organization understand the EMS and is involved in the implementation and improvement? Yes, they are. We've discussed that already. Is it fully accountable for the effectiveness? Yes, you are. Is it integrated in the organization's business process? Yes, it is. Ensure the resources are available. Yeah. Is that one? Have the non-conformances identified in the previous off-site audit been resolved? Now, this refers to the remote audit which we did this morning, which you would have done last year, okay, in the new system. So if those hadn't been addressed, then you don't score here. So this is not applicable for this particular audit because we only did that this morning. And you'll notice it's got a high rating, it's 10 marks there. So basically what it's saying to you is if you don't address the gaps that were identified, we're going to penalize you. Okay. Because it's been shown. So you're doing yourself a disfavor by not doing it. Yeah, that one there. 5.2.1. Okay, they've got the policy. We've seen that. Has it been committed to by top management? Yes, it has. We know that. Okay, they have signed it as well, so that's good. Operation site management, you have signed it. We know that. And again, does the site manager have a clear understanding of and knowledge of the EMS? And I think you do. There are a few things that you need to brush up on a little bit, but you know, it's good. I'm happy with that. Okay, are there commitments in the policy to the protection of the environment, such as the prevention of pollution, sustainable resource use, climate change mitigation, etc.? Those are there. Fulfillment of compliance obligations, including legal, industry association, and interested parties. Continual improvement of the EMS, it's there. Stakeholder engagement, it's there. Employee training, it's there. Has environmental emergency training been conducted with all staff and contractors on site?
Emergency procedure has got what scopes in a flow diagram.
Okay, but has the training been conducted? Emergency, have you done a drill? Have you done an environmental drill? But have you done a theoretical training? Okay. Okay, that has it. Has the policy been reviewed within the stated review period? You answered yes already. Is the policy available to all stakeholders and IPs or interested parties? You've answered that one already as well. Are stakeholders engaged on a regular basis regarding environmental issues and concerns? You've answered that already, so that was nice. Okay. Are the following included in contracts with suppliers of goods or services or contractors such as drillers, security, load and haul, etc.? Commitment to comply with the operational policy and legal requirements? It's in the SLA. Requirement to conduct environmental risk assessments. I think you're doing those internally as well. Provision to audit on-site suppliers, you've already told us about that. And then a clause dealing with contractor non-compliance. You very clearly told us the gate hasn't got a lock on it, so yeah. Again, these questions on the leadership, some of them are repeats. We have already dealt with them, but remember, it can change over a year. Remember, these audits are done a year apart. So it can change. So these are all have been answered. That's why we won't stick too long on them. That one wasn't there. The waste, we didn't have that one in place. Yeah. There's received training. Yeah, and that is there. Okay. So there on leadership again, it's nice and high as it was in the last one. So that's quite nice. Support. Let's go to that one quickly. Resources, we're now at 7.11. Are sufficient resources available, including financial and human? That's the question we always ask. It's the $1 million, but I think you've certainly got human resources, you've got mechanical resources, you've got stuff. So the things that you need to do to fix up here is not going to cost lots. It really isn't. The few non-conformances that you have got, it's really not a lot of money. Okay, the competence. Now, competence is always a difficult one because who is competent and who isn't, and what is and what isn't. You know, we're all competent in our various fields, but this one is specifically says, has the operation ensured that the persons working under its control are competent through an appropriate assessment and by their education, training, or experience? So
obviously, you make sure that your specialists are qualified and registered with the right bodies. You won't use ones that are not competent.
And this refers as well to your staff. You know, your guys working on your site. Where is a dumper operator or a plant operator? Is he competent? Has he been trained? Is he assessed? Have you assessed him? And I know that your operations do that. It's part of the industry standard. So yeah, that's good. All right. Then awareness. Has the operation determined the training needs associated? That you've already addressed. You've provided training for your guys. I would suggest, if it's possible, Letitia, for you guys to maybe just push that down to the lower levels a bit. You know.
So we do have a matrix with the internal.
Okay, so that's great. We've got the matrix. Is the document revised annually following changes to or within operation? Yep.
Statutory training was easy, it's done on the stage.
Yes, yeah.
Our next step is to put this informal training on.
Is there evidence of the induction of the following persons that included environmental requirements as required? So does your induction, we didn't see your formal induction, because you had the DMR there. So guys, yeah, Leonard got a nice visit from the inspectors as well. So he's had to tear himself into two today. But is there things in that specifically for environmental issues? I'll believe you. New employees obviously get that. Contractors and casual workers, is everyone get, including visitors, all and auditors and auditors. Yeah?
You never leave the auditor the 30-minute queue because you're not going to lock up. You're not going to.
No.
So we always just do the same.
Abridged one is perfectly acceptable. Just keep it in mind for the next auditor. Okay. Is there evidence that all persons doing work under the operations control have undergone awareness training on the environmental policy and its objectives? Yes, there is. The significant environmental aspects, have they been addressed by the people? To the people at least? That one is yes. Operations compliance obligations, their responsibilities and implications of non-fulfillment. That's there. Okay, is there general environmental awareness and environmental rules? Okay, to tell. Give me an example. Leonard, tell me something. No, just tell me something what you, because I've seen things, I want to see what you say. What have you done to make the guys generally environmentally aware?
No, the I think we have been decided because in Panthi,
Okay.
they are doing the operation for space, so
Okay.
they do understand.
Pretty much so. The site, I must tell you, for the guys that are not on site, the site was spotless. I honestly didn't see a piece of paper lying around or a piece of rubbish. I don't know how many guys you had cleaning up, but but well done. It was, yeah. Yeah, I do chicken parade, but from the road upwards, it's spotless. So well done on that one. It really looks good. Dust risks associated with dust. Have you trained the people on the risks? What are your risks with your dust?
Obviously,
There's one particular thing I'm looking for. Yeah, because you have a high silica content, don't you? Yeah. Okay. Spot on. Soil contamination, its prevention and mitigation. You actually told me a couple of things. Water contamination, we discussed that. There were one or two areas there that we need to address, but it's good. Waste management, I thought was nice. There were nice separation. Your bins, it's all neat and tidy there. The alien vegetation identification and its control. There you have an issue. You've got quite a big thing, and I was talking to Leonard while we walked. We were apart. It's not something you're going to solve in a month or a year. This is a 5, 6, 7 year project. Slowly, but you need to put it in plan, and you need to just identify, say what you're going to do, keep to the timelines, and then you'll be able to sort this out. Don't try and eat the elephant all at once. Eh? just eat it one bite at a time, and you'll eventually get through, because you've got other work to do as well. Okay. So unfortunately, there it didn't work. Sustainable resource use, including energy conservation. You guys spoke about that. Okay, the handling of hazardous substances. Oils, diesels. You need to address that. It's, the diesel one, the buns, and the oil traps. Those are not, they're there, they're just not functional the way they should be. Okay. Okay, the EMP, that's right, everybody knows that. Is there training related to the use of oil handling and disposal? There's a lot of focus on the training here. So have you trained your people on oil usage? I mean, that thing that you showed us with the filter draining, somebody must have spoken about that, because you guys took the trouble to make it. So has that, something like that, been included in your training? It does. You speak about it in the green areas. Okay. Okay. Have the guys been trained to enable them to respond to fires threatening the operation? You are in a rural environment. You're surrounded by natural vegetation. Have you taken measures to train your people should a fire approach? They are trained. For external fires or just for internal fires? I know you train for your on-site fires, but what happens if it comes from Shuluzini?
Both sides.
Okay. Okay. This is not applicable. Is training done in languages that are well understood by the candidates? What's the language you use? Swat. And annually, it's there. Okay. Of actions taken to acquire necessary competence being evaluated. In other words, have you done tests or PTOs or something like that in terms of environmental issues? Have you done any PTOs on that?
We have 3 units.
Specifically on environmental things? Okay. All right. Okay. Have you got your attendance registers signed off by attendees for your training? You must have that. Okay. I don't know if this is applicable, but where the procedures are developed by she responsibles, is there proof that managers and key people responsible for the procedure have been trained on the procedure? So, Letitia, you might want to answer this one.
We always try and circulate new procedures for input before we implement.
Okay.
So even if it's a she directive, we will circulate it.
Okay.
And give them opportunity.
I think just polish that one a bit for this particular question. It's not a major question, but yeah, it's just a proof of acceptance or something like that, you know. Okay. Right, communication.
Anthony, they sign, once they agree, they sign the actual procedure.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I don't do a sign off.
Yeah, okay. No,
I just say this is the final version.
Okay, okay. No, that's fine. Is there formal documented communication on site, such as a procedure that describes what, when, with whom, and how the operation will communicate? When establishing this procedure, were compliance obligations taken into account? Has the operation taken steps to ensure that the environmental information it communicates is truthful and reliable? He looked at me. Why do you look at me like that? Is the documented information retained as evidence? I think you do keep it on file. Okay, internal communications. Are all levels and functions of persons working under the control of operation included in the communication process? So is everyone involved in the communication process? Leonard? Right down to your general workers. Eh? Yeah, that one is there. When compiling procedures or work instructions, are employees that may be affected or required to execute them involved in their formulation? So do you consult with the guys when you're drawing up your procedures? Someone like a SHE rep or a safety rep or the safety committee? Who gets involved? The safety reps. Okay. Is there an attendance register or minutes of that?
She also signed for that. We just actually now have to provide the lockout, and she was followed.
Okay. Green area meetings, I know you do. We've spoken about that. Issuing of newsletters, employee briefs, memorandums, or minutes of meetings related to the environment. Does that get issued to people? Anything else that you may do that is different? WhatsApp group or something nice. Come on, I'm going to give you some marks here. So. No, okay. Let's go.
I can't use the code SMS line because we can't circulate the code information.
Okay. Is notice boards. Is there a procedure controlling the placement of documentation on the notice boards? Is there a section of these notice boards that is dedicated to EMS communications? Or is it just everything on? Do you have a specific section? It goes where it goes. Is the company's environmental policy displayed on plant notice boards? It is. We've seen it. I didn't see the ASPASA environmental policy. Okay. Just checking. Are environmental awareness programs run at least annually at the operation? So do you at least have one environmental program, awareness program?
When we do the so
yeah, but you don't do anything else. Another program like you would do on safety, you'd have a lockout session where you concentrate just on lockout or energy isolation. Do you have something like that for environmental? A dedicated thing? No. Okay. There was it? You integrate it. Okay.
Something we can do.
Yeah.
We have annually a safety.
Yes. Yeah, we all just do a standard. Maybe just do something like it. Doesn't have to be terribly long. Maybe just think of it. Tali will definitely give you some ideas, and it mustn't be too long because people don't remember it. Okay, are there any environmental incentive programs run at the operation to encourage environmental awareness or stewardship in the workplace?
no,
Okay.
only
Is there, but only you keep your job there. Is there a published set of general environmental rules available on site? Is there a copy of the general environment? Is there a copy of the general environmental rules posted up on notice boards? Yes. Okay. In external communications, is the operations established communication process followed for external communication on EMS? It's important. That is, it's a very important part. That, are the operations compliance obligations regarding external communication identified? So your obligations to externally communicate your EMS thing, have you identified it? Where did you identify it? Yeah, but where is it? Where is it identified? It's in the sheet. Okay. Are these compliance obligations met? Yay or nay? With external, eh? We're talking external, EMS external. Are you meeting your obligations that you've written down? I take it not. Maybe.
Maybe.
Okay, let's keep that one on ice and have a look at it. Okay. I don't think you quite there. You got it. What did you fall asleep?
Let me just understand this right. Are the operations compliance obligations regarding external communication identified?
Yeah. You have a
submission of your EMS.
yes, that all forms part of it.
Quarterly report on or monthly dust report.
Your fallout dust reports, your noise reports. Yeah. So you should actually, those things should actually be running. I would be surprised if they're not.
There's nothing that's outstanding.
Okay, so then those things are met. Okay. Is there a facility layout plan at the entrance to direct visitors? I didn't see that one. So it's not there. Is there a formal structure for handling communications raised by the operations interested parties? Have steps been taken to identify and generate the documented information that is required by ASPASA, about face, relevant compliance obligations? Yeah. Okay. Creating. Is there a formal documented procedure in place to manage the identification and description, format control, provision, fileage, storage of EMS documentation? You've got your files. That's all there, those ones, okay. It's there. Yeah. Subject. Go to 75311. Control of documented information. Are the procedures for retaining documented information adequately described in the procedure described in 752? Creating and updating. Okay, when documented information is required to be kept for legal purposes, records, is it available and accessible? You've got it on file. You should have it. You've got most of your stuff there. Clearly legible? Yes, it is. Is the storage of documented information adequate? I don't know. Talk to me. Is it adequate? Is there enough space? Is there enough cupboard for it? I don't think so.
Like this ENP, why it took so long to come here, we scanned the whole document. Either disappears, that it is.
You've got something, yeah.
So you do close the gap with those legal documents, but you do get stuff that is clear.
Is it adequately protected from loss of confidentiality or improper use?
Well, you could
I
have
think-
taken some information today.
I'm bound by confidentiality. I told you it's. I could have yet. Yeah, look, so people need access to it as well. That is part. I think what they mean there is it mustn't just be lying on the plant somewhere where it can get lost. Okay, the score there was a 98, so it's pretty good there. Now we're coming to the operation and the physical audit side. Okay, do you have a water balance diagram in the MP? Does it show sources, discharges, and volumes of respective water flows? It should. It should. Should get witnessing here. This is his area.
That's why I was raising.
And that's why you did quiet there.
It doesn't show.
The sources,
Yes.
discharges, and volumes of respective water flows at the operation.
It does.
Should do it. Is it up to date?
Yeah, that's one.
Is it up to date with the current water
This is
usage?
so fresh. This was not-
The ink is still wet. Huh?
Unfortunately for them, they did it recently and not approval.
Okay. How does the operation manage ablution and sewage water on site? Is a septic tank. Is grey water harvested?
Not yet.
Okay. Is it a septic tank with a soak pit with a French drain? Right. Right, the waste management. These are the nasties that come through. All waste generated, reused, recycled, recovered, treated, or disposed of within 18 months of generation. If you say no, you've got a huge problem. In other words, you're not storing waste on site, you are disposing of it in the correct way. Does the operation recycle or reuse the following waste streams? Used hazardous chemical substances, including lubricants. In other words, do you sell your oil? Yeah. Okay. Scrap metals, yes. Office paper, thrown away. Rubber products, plastics and aluminium.
They do separate them. I must be honest with you, Cradle today, I must have checked what they
Yeah.
do at the end.
Yeah.
With them
Yeah.
separated. like-
Printing cartridges, that's another one. No. No one does. Mercury vapor lamps, fluorescent tubes, and other CFLs disposed of legally to licensed facilities through any one of the following means. Crushed on site in a sealed container.
No.
Collected whole and disposed of legally to an approved site recycler. Change to LEDs, it's easier. Okay, safe disposal certificates, are they available for scrap metals?
How they do that.
Who takes your scrap metal?
Nuco.
Nuco, okay, okay.
Thank you. Remember.
You see the truck there, they were busy there. Okay, and then oils,
They're not oil cost.
it's oil coal, hey, they have got. Is it oil coal that you
I have
use?
no idea.
Not.
I'm not gonna know.
Okay.
I'm gonna check the files.
Have you got lead waste?
They do the
How do they measure the crusher settings?
foil or the.
Okay. Also not applicable, PCB. The fluorescent lights, you said they are disposed of to a legal approved recycler. Who is that?
See, the electrical contractor normally takes it, so that one as well, we have to go check the tag of the road.
Yeah. Medical waste.
And it's campus waste. We have a mobile unit coming, so.
And your masks?
Oh, they do have to,
Yeah. Who takes that?
Yeah,
You don't, not sure.
They've arranged this one, so
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
It's just too many parties to read.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, does the operation have an up-to-date register identifying all hazardous chemical substances? Yes, it will. Have employees working with hazardous substances been issued with the appropriate PPE? Does the purchasing procedure require the supply of chemical substances to supply a 16-point safety data sheet with the consignment? Rehabilitation, biodiversity and site management. Where protected species or structures have been identified, have steps been introduced at the site to ensure their protection. Nothing was identified and you've got no structures. There's no heritage structure. So that I'm going to mark as a not applicable. Is the current rehabilitation at the operation up to date? It's also not applicable. You've just started there. Have only non-alien and non-invasive trees and plants been used for rehabilitation and screening? Again, it's not applicable. It's a big scorer. So when they do a rehabilitation, please use the local indigenous trees and vegetation. And you need to get a little bit of local ecological information on that. Okay. Because what often happens is people bring plants that aren't actually from here.
Yeah.
But they're not alien, you know.
Even the local desert.
Yeah, or someone like the botanical gardens can help you on that one.
Next to one,
Yeah,
it's still going.
it's still in progress. Okay, VSDs, your energy reduction, you don't have variables. No, you do. On the old plant, I don't know if did you have VSD there? On the jaw, the feeder on the jaw, the variable speed drive, we would have one there. Definitely.
Why is that part of the environment?
It's energy saving.
Oh.
It's energy saving. I didn't see lights on, so you've got those there. You won't have a power factor correction. You've got your working for generators. There's that. That program you used for
It's yams.
yams. Yams. Why AMS? Brilliant. See how the two sort of work hand in hand. Yeah, is that. Emergency preparedness and response. Do you have a written procedure for environmental emergencies? Does the emergency procedure include reference to the following? Regarding reporting emergencies that may result in pollution to the environment or water source in terms of Section 20 of the National Water Act?
See, I can't remember that it's got two of these. I'm just going to check on my phone.
Okay. I would think that you've got those first two, section 20 and section 30, and possibly even section 36.
Section 30 and Nima. And section 24, so I'm missing
20.
20.
GN 704 and section 36. Okay, is there a list of emergency contact numbers? Is there a list of available equipment for possible use in the different types of emergencies? Yeah.
List of equipment in the procedures.
Okay, I think we just put that out there. Is there a list available at the entrance gate that lists emergency contact numbers? Is the operation prepared to respond to emergency situations and to mitigate adverse environmental impacts? Are reports available detailing the environmental emergency drills, including a concluding section? Does the operation periodically review and revise the emergency procedure and planned responses, in particular following the occurrence of an emergency situation? No.
I expected a lot worse today.
Has the operation provided relevant information and training related to emergency preparedness and response to the relevant IPs, including persons working under control of the operation where necessary? Where applicable, is the operation a member of the local fire protection association? Just for your info, that's not a bad idea where you situated, to join the, I think it's Lowveld Escarpment Fire Protection Association. Costs you 250 Rand a year, and it's definitely worth it because you're going to get fires here. Okay, yeah, operationally it didn't look so lekker. There's a couple of gaps there. Okay. But let's move to the physical. Right, 12.11. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. It's not applicable. Section 12, question 12.13 is not applicable because we've done the audit on the same day, so can't penalize you there. Is there physical evidence confirming the successful and committed implementation of the environmental policy? EMS objectives, targets on the mining license area and where possible surrounding lands. Yes, there is. Are the mining boundaries clearly demarcated? This was your question, eh? This was your question. So 30, yeah. No, Leonard was very clear, showed me exactly where. Obviously, we didn't go over the copy, but I mean, he knew exactly where.
The actual boundaries.
The actual, and he showed me the actual boundaries, so he knows where they are. That's all we need. Okay, let's see. Air quality. Is dust suppression on all in-use roads being done? Yes, it was. We saw it. At the primary crushers, we saw it. Transfer points, we saw it. Around the stockpiles, we saw it. You can't do screen houses covered with cladding. We're on the last one now. The last one. What? A lot of this will run quickly now. Does Larry let you guys know when he's coming? So he does phone you and say when he's coming. Tell me, does he notify you if there's been any extraordinary observations on the dust? Will he come and tell you about it? Yeah, but I mean, does he highlight it if there's a... Okay. He told me about the dust. Have any external complaints relating to dust been received? Nobody from Sholozi fighting with you? Okay. It's not just your plant, eh? It can be from blasting, can be from the road, it can be all sorts of things. Not. Any internal complaints by your operators, your people? I bet you if I ask them, they'll tell me. Noise. Do you blast at scheduled times?
Yes.
Every time. What time is that?
Between 4 and 5.
Between 4 and 5.
It's always Saturday.
Okay. We discussed those complaints. Okay. Measures to reduce noise. Have they been introduced? So, for example, screening with berms or use of vegetation. You've got vegetation in place. You haven't introduced anything. So I'm going to mark that as a non-applicable stage. Okay, the alien vegetation noticeable. Limited under control. Control program visible. Limited no control. Uncontrolled. It's pretty much limited with no control. It's not all over, but there are specific areas. But we discussed that. So not a complete no-go. Okay, Leonard, for 12432 is about the oil sediment trap. I think we've discussed that enough. You know what you have to do there. I'm not reading these, I'm just quickly going through them. It's all about your workshops and the oil recoveries and the wash bays and those things. Okay, you can follow them up there. It's 12.14, 12.4.3.8 if you want to go there. That whole section there, 12.4.3. Okay. 3.8 is the site equipped with a stormwater handling facility that allows for the settling of coarse fractions or sediment prior to decanting off the defined mining area. We spoke about that, those areas there. You've got, it's a partial because you've got that Gabion, those baskets that are acting as sediment traps. So it's pretty much is in place. I think you've got it there. Is there enough adequate containment for sediment entering the natural environment? There you still have got some work. It's not a complete naught. There are places where you just need to fix up. And it's very easy. Put some Gabions. I showed Leonard exactly what he can do. And he can do it. Take you 10 minutes and you've sorted it. Remember, it must have a 0.8 meter freeboard above things. So freeboard is you have your wall and then you've still got a little bit extra for the big rain that comes, so that at least it doesn't wash away. All right. You don't recover any water. You don't harvest rainwater or anything like that at this stage. Okay, 12.44. There's no evidence of erosion on site. There was a bit of run, but it's really, I think you fixed the erosion after the flood. No, but I mean, if that's you can't, you know, that's not normal. Is this too much? Okay, 12.447, is there evidence of pollution, sedimentation or erosion on adjacent lands that may be attributable to the operation? I didn't see anything like that. Okay, and I looked for it, especially down on the bottom section there. So I don't think you're contaminating. I think there are a couple of risky areas which we spoke about, but I didn't see major non-conformities there. So yeah, just keep your eye on it, okay. Yeah, it's there. Water sampling point, we had 12.4.5. Water monitoring points, you were able to discuss those. The water monitoring results you were able to discuss. Have you received any complaints relating to water during the last year? Downstream, you know, nothing? Okay, so there you get full marks, that's good. Okay, that's also not applicable. Okay, here, witness got you in the story. Here's your story. The clean water, dirty water. Okay. Is stormwater separated into clean and dirty streams that are handled separately? It's GNR 704. So clean water streams are diverted away from potential polluting areas. I don't think you've got those in place. You haven't separated the clean and dirty water. You've got pit water that's not good. You've got other normal flow off. I think you're working on it. It's getting there. You've said about the trenches and those berms, those seepage berms. It's still an area where I think you need to have a look at. Okay. I'm particularly concerned about your pit water. If you said it doesn't comply with any, not even agricultural use, that's a problem for you. Because I don't know, witness with that, it's not acid water, eh?
What was the pH? Was it below 5?
Look, let's not wait. Yeah.
Because this for pH, it's supposed to be 5.
Yeah, what is the pH of that water? Then we can see. Okay. 10.2 is it's alkaline.
It's fine. 10.25. Yeah, but it's too alkaline.
Shut, that's alkaline there. Wow. I mean, it's actually an alkaline. It'll burn you at 10.2. What would it be? It should be about between 5 and 7 normally.
The normal range is supposed to be 5.5 to 9.5.
Yes, the limit is 7.8.
Yeah, so you're over the limits.
That's what the water is licensed.
You see, you get two acids, two things. You either go acid on the scale or you go alkaline, both which burn you. Maybe you must have that retested. Just have another sample at some stage. And be careful of taking a sample out of a small little bit of water. You must take it out of a big thing. Because the smaller it gets, the more it's concentrated. Okay. Then the other question of 12461 says, are all oils, hazardous waste storage facilities, sanitation facilities, waste sites, and other sources of potential water pollution located outside the 1 to 50 potential flood zone? Now, you don't know because you don't know where your flood zone is. So, unfortunately, that one is also something to look for. You can get that flood zone, that information is available from the weather people. They'll tell you exactly where it is.
The specialist.
Yeah, it'll be there. It'll definitely be there. The guys must do it. The surveyors should know it as well. So just get that, then you know exactly where it is. Okay, let's
Then you also assist us with the plan. So take the water.
Yeah, get a little water management, just your stormwater management program, and just just a bit of a plan, and then you can see where you're going. You haven't got a lot of water in your pit. I don't know. Did you pump out or did you leave it just evaporate? You didn't have that much. Yes, you're lucky. Let's come and see water. I'll show you. Our whole bottom section is just filled up. But no, that's great. Okay, 12.514, on the day of audit, the question is, was litter well managed, including paper, plastic filters, food, etc.? No litter noted, some litter noted, litter noted. We didn't note any litter, I must be honest, and I looked for it. So there's well done on that one. That's really, I must say, it's one of the cleanest sites I've ever seen. It was really good. There, it's all very nicely managed. All those things. Okay. Were the different types of waste stored separated? Rubber waste was separate. Metals were separate. Domestic waste was separate.
Sure.
Oil contaminated waste was separate. And used oil analysis was separate. The reusable waste or product neatly stored for reuse. Your salvage yard, I see you have got a bit of stuff there, so that was also good. The waste storage containers were all intact, nothing was froth and rusted and broken. Were measures taken to prevent accidental spillage? Yes. Was waste stored so it couldn't blow away? Yes. The bins had lids on, they were closed. Also for the monkeys. Was pollution of the environment and harm to health prevented through bunding, sealing, and covering? Yes, it was. Were waste containers or storage impoundments labeled? Yes, they were. Are all oils, grease, and hydraulic fluid spills cleaned by removing all the contaminated soil and appropriate disposal? You said, you told me how you did it. Salvage yard is good. Separation in the salvage yard, we didn't go into it, so I'm not sure, but I think it looked like it from the outside. Nico, you saw it.
I explained it to you.
Yeah, okay. Is it free from oily wastes and chemicals? Yes, it was. Are gearboxes and crusher oil tanks adequately stored so as to prevent oils from leaking and causing pollution? You didn't have any tanks at ice and gearboxes. You sent all your old stuff somewhere else.
That's all in the Ford, so
okay, so that's cool then. Guys, we're nearly finished. Hazardous waste, is it stored in a bundled covered area on an impermeable floor? Your oils are there on a bundled area. Really, yeah. It's outside the so clearly labeled as hazardous waste. I don't recall the labeling on the oil store door. Is it there? Okay. I didn't. Liquid waste other than oil was stored in bundled areas? Yes. That's your diesel. Covered areas? No, it's not applicable. Impermeable floor? Yes. Risk of environmental pollution was minimized? No. Your valves were open. Yeah. The point is, don't bullshit yourself. You know, it's a finding. Has a leak test been performed? No. You got all the MSDS sheets?
Yep.
Okay. Paints, solvents, acids, lead batteries. Where I didn't see a paint store. Or did I? No, I didn't.
I think the photo is the yellow pages when you walk between.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, okay.
I must say, we need something to stop the paint from running out.
Yeah.
So it's an open page, there's not a drip.
Yeah. It's on the floors are good. The areas are covered, they're well ventilated, but they're not bundled. Okay, where there's a potential of polluting substances such as oil, or where potential polluting substances such as oil are stored at the operation, are they stored in bundled areas? Yeah, oil most definitely was. Permeable floor, yes. Covered area, yes. Ventilated area, yes. Leak test been performed? No. Stock spill kit? Suitable firefighting equipment, I saw that. Yeah. Okay, the containment was right, it's 110%, I saw those. Have your storage tanks and storage areas been approved by the local authority? Okay, you haven't got it. Yeah, you're going to fight with that. Why are you going to fight with that? It's going to take a long time. The fire department, And they've got crap. It's such a rigmarole. They wanted us to go underground. Yeah. No, I mean the environmental impact or risk when you go underground it's horrible. You don't want that. That's, anyway, okay. Is the bunded area equipped with an effluent treatment facility to prevent pollution to the environment? You've got a trap at your diesel tank, but it's just a trap. It's not a treatment facility. I'm going to make that not applicable at this stage because you're going to sort that one out. Okay, here's one. On the day of the audit, were all bund drainage valves locked shut. So that's why I looked at that one, unfortunately.
I think that one, I've been around for many years, and that one comes up every time it's not locked.
Yeah, no, it's a difficult thing to monitor because what happens is these things fill up with water.
Yeah.
And while Leonard doesn't even know about it, some oak goes and he opens it and he takes a bolt cutter, cuts the lock, and he doesn't tell anyone and he just leaves it, you know. Okay, that's not a. We don't have any underground storage tanks, thank goodness for you. Are diesel and fuel bowsers and their surrounds free of spillage and clean? Yes, they were. I actually saw one there. Where do you park your mobile, your little tankers? Your bowser, the little one. That mobile bowser that they were filling up when we walked past. Where does it get parked?
Yeah, the forward stand. Just next to the diesel.
Okay, so it's not in a contained area. On an impermeable floor. Okay, that's okay. Are they well maintained? Look like it. Guys, he was talking. Don't leave me to do all the talking. Transformers.
You saw outside. We couldn't tell you what you were seeing.
I need interaction. Okay, transformers. You don't have. You get electricity from there. That side. Yeah, in the office. Where does the office's electricity from that side? Okay, so these are all not applicable. Okay, eat me sweets. Okay, then on 12.8 it asks, is there evidence of soil contamination resulting from oil or chemical spill? I didn't see anything and I looked for it. So well done on that one. All vehicles noted during the audit free of oil leaks, except the Fords. Especially Gareth's Ford. They must tell Gareth that his Ford was leaking. Drip trays. Do you use drip trays under your machines? Okay, 12.9, topsoil stockpiling. I didn't see a specifically demarcated topsoil stockpile. Have you got one? Yeah, so you don't have an actual stockpile. What you do with those berms is you put a little sign in it to say topsoil. Okay. No, well it is. And you seed it with natural grasses from the area. Okay, and you can even plant a couple of little bushes on it, these little berry bushes, local things. And then when you do use that material one day for rehabilitation, it's already seeded and you don't have to reseed it. You've got a seed base in your soil. So you kill two birds with one stone. Okay, something you can do. Well, listen, not just, don't get these guys for nothing. Eh? Yeah, it's there. Do you have a topsoil stockpiling procedure? No. You've got no topsoil. Alien vegetation is hurting you. You must get that plan going. It's hurting you in this because there's a lot of questions and they're high scoring. So you do have the alien vegetation, but as I said, get your action plan together and just start it. Really, you don't have to finish it, but just start it so that there's evidence that you're actually doing something. And you just move through that very gently, month by every month. Just do 10 meters, and so you get through. And then you change this whole scoring matrix will change because then you can allocate the marks to it. Okay. Yeah, it's really, you don't have to get fancy with it. Your site is nice, it's flat. You can really work it, and you can actually get some of your local people to come and help you. You can use some of that timber as well. You can kill two birds with one stone with your SLP. You can
Just think it's the
Yeah.
how you do it, that it aligns with what we communicate, the community.
Yeah.
by ways of-
But just for like a little bit of enterprise development or something like that, you can get some of the ladies to start a little nursery for you and you plant some trees to take out that alien vegetation one at a time, just a little bit. And quick, before you know what, next year this time you're sitting and you've reduced, the volume. Okay. All right, housekeeping. Guys, we're nearly finished, so please bear with me. Housekeeping, the question is, when approaching the operation from a distance, does it appear neat and professionally managed? And yes, it most definitely does. And this was a consensus, guys, who were online. Everybody agreed on that one. Approach roads free of quarry spillage? Yes, they are. I looked for that as well. Is the entrance is the entrance to the operation neat and free of litter? Yes, it is. Are delivery trucks leaving the operation cleared of loose material? Well, we didn't see anything on the ground, so they must be cleared. And I looked for that this morning when the trucks were going out and coming in. So well signposted? Yes, it is. You just need your site plan. That's the only one. But that question was already answered. Okay. The security guard, well done with your security guard. He addressed me very nicely, asked me if I knew where to go, directed me. 10 out of 10 for those guys. Okay. Get some ASPASA flagged. We'd really like to see them. We still got, yeah.
Sorry for
Yeah, of course.
Of course, we're getting a charge.
He buys every year.
Your signage on your fence. Remember I asked you that one? It's a big question, yeah, 5 months. Yeah, so that's nice. The floodlights were off during the day. We constructed our berms profiles. Okay, firefighting stuff that's placed there. It's there. Okay, with the lead pump, you're gonna need to get, it's a small question, but fire breaks for winter. Look at it. Okay, not so much for the audit score, but for your own protection around your plant. The last thing you want to do is have a fire come through and burn everything. So but you can get the advice from them. Those guys are very helpful, and they'll even come and help you. So just have a look at that. Okay. All right, that's it, guys. We're done. On that section, unfortunately, a little bit low, 82. But there's a lot of things with the alien vegetation that hurt you there, as I said, that really did. So the overall score for this part, this section, that doesn't look right. Doesn't look right.
Don't worry if it's low, we can take it.
No, it doesn't look right. The top one was 97.8 and the bottom one is 82.2, and it's giving me a score of 68, but that's wrong. It's impossible. So let me fix the formulas. You should be in the region of about pretty much the same as what you got on the remote one, about 80, high 80s somewhere. So not a bad thing. There's a couple of things that you need to have a look at. If you don't mind, let me fix this, and then I'll send you a copy of your audit. But I think well done, hey? And that's us. So from my side, in wrapping up the audit side, firstly, thank you very much, guys, for your patience and your input, your hospitality. You looked after us very nicely. It was great being here. And you know, it's a case of, we know we put you on the spot. And I really hope that you've got a bit of benefit from this as well. So from ASPASA side as well, thank you for letting us use your facilities. Letitia, thank you for your help in that. We really do appreciate it. And look forward to next year. You'll do an audit. Whoever the auditor will be, you'll do it next year. See. But they will use this document as a base document. So, and you've got something to work from on that. Is there anything from anyone else that you'd like to add
I
up?
would just like also to say thank you, Nico, and for allowing us to be a little bit strange in this environment, but I think we learned a lot.
Yeah. I know you're more than
It was
welcome.
helpful.
More than welcome. For the folks on site, yeah, we've wrapped up nicely. We really were well treated by Afrimat at Dingwall, the team here. Thank you very much. And I think that's us. We're done. If there's anything that anyone would like to ask or comment, please just let me just go off here, and then you can certainly have a look at that. Okay, Mark Marie's got a question or a hand up.
Yes, thanks, Anthony. It was quite insightful. I made a long list of stuff that I have to look for. Is it possible that you can send us that document of yours that I can, on my time, go through my stuff and check what I've got, what I don't have? To be able
Once we've got the orders for your how many sites you want to audit.
You can ask.
That was Nico. That wasn't me. That was Nico that said.
No, I'm going to waste your time if you come to Crocodile.
No, we can certainly make a plan with that. Yeah.
I would really appreciate if I can just have the document to just go through on my time and check whatever's.
Yeah, just give me a few days. I just need to sort out that. You see, there's a little glitch in this. Certainly on the site audit, there seems to be a glitch in the scoring. But let me just sort that out. So early next week, I'll send you a copy of it.
100%. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for attending.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to say something? All right, folks, from our side, thank you very much. I think that wraps up, that concludes today's audit and the meeting. And you'll hear from Nico in the very near future regarding the future of the environmental audits. Thank you all for your participation, and we will schedule another meeting, an online meeting in the near future. So from our side, thank you very much and goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Right.